That's what I wanted to say. The volume, I could not hear anything, so whatever happened, I missed it. So thank you.
Oh, from the resident here speaking, you could not hear the from the microphone?
The
Oh,
volume was not on. This is the
Oh.
first I'm hearing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Noel.
Well, you missed the award that we gave to Katerina, and you missed resident Stacy
Yes,
comments on the Cohen conditional use. It's good to see you.
What was the Cohen? Can you just real quick give a quick?
Actually, if the residents online did not hear her, why don't we
Yeah.
just have her? Would you mind if?
Come back up.
I don't think she will mind at all.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
So Stacy Colburn, 213 Meadow Drive. Given that the decision on the conditional uses for the Cohen property and an extension on the Bondsville apartments is expected to be announced at this meeting, I strongly hope that considerations have been made for the significant increase to traffic that is already an issue in that area, the potential home devaluation of existing single-family homes in the area and the safety of those residents, the township infrastructure for trash, water, sewer, and schools, and the flooding in the area that is also already an issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. All right. Next on the agenda, under solicitor, we have the zoning amendment regulating the vape shops and other miscellaneous uses. Ms. Camp.
Thank you. So this is a zoning ordinance amendment hearing. The state law requires that you have a public hearing before you adopt amendments to your zoning ordinance. And I always want the minutes to reflect that we followed whatever procedures are required by the MPC to have this hearing and for you to consider this ordinance. So the first was we advertised tonight's hearing in the Daily Local News on February 12th and February 19th. We also sent a copy of the ordinance for public inspection on January 31st, 2025 to the Chester County Law Library and to the Daily Local News. Your planning commission reviewed, there were several iterations of this ordinance, and your planning commission provided their input. The latest time was at their meeting on January 21st, 2025, where they voted 5-0 that the board approved this ordinance. And then the last thing is, again, we have to send a copy of the ordinance to the Chester County Planning Commission, and they are very helpful in providing recommendations. And we did make some changes as we were working through this ordinance. The final letter is dated January 28th, 2025. And that the final version of that letter basically says that they have no further comments. So we did address most of their comments when we made revisions. And that letter also is a really good explanation. They do a good job at the beginning of that letter to explain exactly what the ordinance does. So again, this is amendments to your zoning. And what we are doing is amending some definitions. So one is amending the definition of a convenience store, retail business establishment, and retail use. Those uses, what we're doing is we're pulling out of them things that are now being more specifically identified as vape shops. So that's coming out in those definitions. We're adding definitions for various terms such as cannabinoid, hookah bar and lounge, a tobacco store and smoke shop, a regulated cannabinoid substance retailer, and an unregulated cannabinoid substance retailer. The new uses, we're adding them as conditional uses in the I-1 industrial district. And then for those new uses, we're identifying various regulations that an applicant would have to prove in order to be granted conditional use approval for those uses. I guess that's really it. That's sort of the sum and substance of what this ordinance does. And again, I think we've brought this to the boards at several meetings to have conversation and discussions. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I think it's prepared. If you are ready to make a motion to approve this ordinance, we have done what we need to under the state law.
Thank you, Ms. Camp. Commissioners, any more comments, questions?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I just wanted to say I'm really happy that we're here at this juncture with this. This is a huge step. There's a online newsletter from people who write it don't say who they are, but it comes out of Downingtown, and they don't have any bylines on any of their articles. But there was an article completely misrepresenting what this ordinance is and spinning it the exact opposite of what it really is. And this is to protect our community, to make sure that, you know, shop where you get candy and is a shop where you get candy. Things are in, I'm going to stop talking now, but you know, this is a conversation that started at the Chester County Department of Drug and Alcohol Services Board of Advisory Council and came to the Board of Commissioners and then went to the Lincoln Highway Commission and then back to the Board of Commissioners. And this is, I'm really excited about this. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Evans. Any other questions from commissioners? I will put it out to the residents here in the township building. Anybody here have any comments, questions? Do not see any hands raised at this moment. Anyone in Zoom? Easy enough. I know we've been working on this for quite some time. I really appreciate all the work that's been put into this. All right, so all we need to do is entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-01.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by, oh, everyone's jumping on this. Moved by Commissioner Evans. I'll go with second by Commissioner Tendero. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Bondsville Road Apartment Conditional Use Approval.
So we talked about this at your work session. Bondsville Road Realty Ventures LLC. They own 2 parcels on the east side of Bondsville Road, south of the Route 30 bypass. The address is 415 Bondsville Road. The property is zoned R4 medium to high density residential. The owner received final subdivision and land development approval to consolidate these 2 parcels and to construct a 15,397 square foot senior independent living facility with 57 units. This project started, I think in 2012, maybe. The board adopted an amendment to allow that use in the R4 by conditional use. The applicant came and received conditional use approval. The applicant requested back in May of 2024 that the board vote to extend the conditional use until basically for a 1-year time frame. After that meeting, that was granted. So the conditional use was extended to May 29th, 2025. The board entertained conversation and discussion with the owner to determine whether the owner would be willing to either relocate that particular development to another property in the township or completely, not this development, but look at another type of development, maybe another type of residential development somewhere else. That conversation went on for quite a bit. There was about 7 months time frame that the parties in good faith were sort of, doing that dialogue. There was really no formal conclusion of that. And there was discussions at public meetings. There was never really a vote on that. But I think the applicant indicated that they thought that we're just going to move forward with the plan that we have. So they had asked that the time that they spent in discussing with you a possible land swap and moving this to some other site, that 7 months not be taken against the 1-year time frame that they got on the extension of the conditional use, which we think is a fair request because they were, as I said, in good faith trying to see if there was a better location for a development. So the ask tonight is basically just to take those 7 months and tack them on to the May 29th, 2025 deadline, which would mean that their conditional use is extended till December 29th, 2025. They do have subdivision land development plan. So there's a sort of a 2-part thing. The conditional use is the zoning part of it. They also, what the law says is that they have 5 years to substantially complete the public improvements on the approved plan. And if they don't do that, and that 5 years starts from the date that the preliminary plans are approved. If they don't finish substantially complete, I should say, the improvements within that 5-year time frame, it doesn't mean the plan is invalid. What it means is that plan is subject to any changes in ordinances that have been adopted since the date of preliminary plan approval. Back in May, the board was asked by the applicant whether they would agree to extend that 5-year window, and the board said no. You need to go back and determine what ordinances have been passed since 2013, The applicant did that. We did go back and double check that. And the only ordinance that's relevant that was changed was the stormwater management ordinance. So they did file revised land development plans, and those are currently being reviewed. This, whatever you do tonight, is only specific to extension of the conditional use. They still have to come back to you and get basically the revised plans that they say comply with your stormwater ordinance. That will be a subsequent meeting and a subsequent motion and conversation. So this is just a preliminary, very minor scope to add on to the 1-year extension that they had already received, that 7-month time frame where they really weren't pursuing the plan because they were thinking maybe they would be taking the development somewhere else.
Commissioners, any comments? I think it's only fair since we were trying to work out a better deal with them as far as a different location, but it just didn't work out. Anyone here in the township building? Any residents have a comment, questions? I do not see any at this time. Anyone in Zoom? All right. Board members, entertain a motion to approve the Bondsville Realty Ventures request to extend until December 29th, 2025.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. So next is the Cohen conditional use decision. And let me get my ducks in an order and pass something in. Relevant part of this is the conditions. Met in executive session to discuss draft conditions. And I've
Thank you.
incorporated for comment. And let me start for the beginning for the audience. So Michael Cohen is the applicant. He owns with his brother Alan Cohen and Elise Strapple, I think is his sister, a 29.02 acre parcel located at 4109 Lincoln Highway. It's Chester County Tax Parcel 39-4-115. The applicant filed a conditional use application on May 24th, 2024, seeking conditional use approval from the board pursuant to section 155-26C2 of the County Township zoning ordinance as it was amended on January 25th, 2024 to develop a multifamily townhouse development with 103 dwelling units on the property. The board held a hearing on October 31st and then at the end of the hearing on October 31st, continued it until November 12th. That November 12th meeting was continued on the record until January 9th when the evidentiary record was closed. Applicant did agree to grant this board 4 days of an extension because you have to render the decision within 45 days. So we do appreciate that from the applicant. The applicant was represented by Mr. Nagel, who's here in the audience, and Dan and Denise Hagan. Mr. Hagan's also in the audience, was granted party status. They live at 217 Park Drive. This proposed decision, which again, just so that everyone understands, this is sort of the first piece of the development process. They're seeking zoning approval. So a conditional use is a type of zoning approval that can only be granted after a public hearing process by the Board of Commissioners. And what the standard practice is I review the transcripts, I prepare a draft decision. I have Ray Stackhouse and Lowell Lehman, your civil engineer. Sometimes Mike Schneider needs to get involved, but I have your staff review these decisions. I share a copy of the decision with the board in advance. You tell me if I've address the comments and concerns you had. We specifically try to focus on the conditions. So we did do that. We had an executive session. I incorporated the board's requested comments and changes. I did have a phone conversation with Mr. Nagel yesterday and alerted him to some of the conditions that were different than maybe what had been presented. He brought to my attention that, so let me go back to the conditions. So the conditions, what the board has before them is a draft approval granting the zoning approval for the townhomes. And at the January hearing, the plan had been revised and they made some of the townhome units bigger, which reduced the total number from 103 to 97. So this order, the proposed order, would allow by conditional use a townhouse development with a maximum of 97 dwelling units to be built on this property substantially in conformance with the way that the revised plans were submitted to you. And that was at the January hearing. They brought back and had revised the plans. The board also has to approve the use of a loop road access on the northern pod as opposed to a boulevard entrance. So if you recall, there's two pod sections, one on that entrance that comes off of Lincoln Highway that does show a boulevard entrance, and another separate pod that is not connected by any roads. It will be connected through trail systems, but it comes off of Park Drive, and they're not showing a boulevard entrance there. They're showing sort of a loop road. So the ordinance does allow that, provided the board approves that, and that is in here that you would approve that loop road access point. There were waivers that were identified on the plan and were discussed through their engineer. Because this is a zoning approval decision specifically for zoning approval, I've never written into a zoning approval grants of waivers because waivers are subdivision land development ordinance provisions. So I did make note of some of those waivers. Mr. Nagel brought it to my attention that there were other waivers that I did not call out. I have no problem going back and adding the other waivers that they're going to seek. But I've told Mr. Nagel that it is not the board's practice to grant waivers within a context of a conditional use decision. And I also told him, and please correct me if I'm wrong, anybody on the board, but that you understand that there were certain waivers that are being sought. That's something that you haven't shown an objection necessarily to the plan. I know that Mr. Evans had some concerns about wanting them to be closer to the road, but generally the layout of the revised plan is something that the board supports, and we'll go through that process as you get to the land development stage. But as far as the specific request to add findings of fact to specifically delineate all the waivers, I don't have a problem doing that. The draft that you have right now, I think there were two that I didn't include. So I don't have a problem if the board would consent to that. I would go back and I would refer to the plan and I would add the additional waivers that the applicant is seeking. I don't have any issue with doing that. So in the conditions, they would be that the development is designed substantially in accordance with the testimony and evidence presented at the hearings and with the revised plans, as those plans are further revised to comply with these conditions. There are specific consultant review letters that were admitted as exhibits, and this condition would require them to bring those plans in compliance with those review letters. So those are called out: the Arrow, the Pannoni, and the Gilmore Associate letters. The revised plans also must be further revised to add additional dense landscaping, low walls, or other measures to increase the privacy for the rear yard areas of the townhomes that directly face Lincoln Highway or Park Drive. The specifics of those features will be something that gets vetted during land development. Another condition that I include in all of these decisions is that if there are any other outside agency permits, such as PennDOT permits, which they need for access onto Lincoln Highway, they need a NPDES permit from the DEP, they need sewer planning module approval, that type of thing. All of that, those permits all have to be obtained, which is sort of a belt and suspender condition because they'd have to do that anyway. If required by the DEP, applicants shall obtain Act 2 clearance for any known contaminants on the property. If you recall, there was testimony at the hearing, I think even just Mr. Nagel explaining that they're going through that process. And so we would just want to be copied on whatever the end result of that Act 2 clearance is. The maximum number of units shall be 97 townhomes. And then condition 7, if you refer to page 19, this was one that I added some based on our conversation last week. The applicant had introduced an exhibit, A14, which showed various streetscape improvements that they were going to install. And those, basically, they'll have to implement those. And I've called them out as being benches, street trees, decorative lighting, a brick architectural wall, sidewalks, and a stamped concrete entrance. The board had asked that the street lights, there were some street lights that have recently been approved for use. One was the Willows. And so we made specifically reference to that specific design. And I need to attach the specification, but Mr. Lehman from Arrow provided me the spec from that plan set. That's a decorative lighting. The board has an interest in being able to have an outlet on those lights so that they could, if they wanted in the future, to install some sort of Christmas decoration or any holiday decoration. And also, what was the other thing? Basically, the details of those light specs is very detailed, and that will be done through land development, but at least to call out that those are the types of, that's the type of light you're looking for, basically. Okay. If any exterior lighting fixtures are proposed, they have to be energy efficient that meet the IES standards. Applicant must install a dusk dawn lamppost in front of the townhouse units at intervals approved by the board. Details of those lampposts, again, will be approved by the board as part of subdivision and land development. The internal roads will be private roads owned and maintained by a homeowners association. And then the 10th condition is something that, based on the board's commentary, the board wanted to see the roads being a minimum of 26 feet wide. I did discuss that one condition with Mr. Nagel, and he indicated that the northern pod, the roads are shown at 28 feet. There's 2 alleys, they're at 24, but all the other internal roads on the northern pod are 28 feet. And on the southern pod, they are 24 feet wide. So that is the one change that he had asked that we make to condition 10. I think one of the questions that a commissioner asked was, what are the roads in the Willows? And they're 24 feet wide. I think Mr. Stackhouse is comfortable with 24 feet wide, as long as, in terms of emergency access, as long as there is not any parking. And so this condition, if you were to approve those dimensions, so again, it would be 28 feet for the northern pod, except for the 2 alleys, and 24 feet for the southern pod, but there would not be able to be any parking on the southern pod, and that restriction would have to be included in the homeowner's declaration. Let's see, the next condition is providing a perpetual blanket easement in the common open space to allow the township or any other governmental entity or conservation organization who routinely owns and maintains recreational trails to install and maintain a 10 to 12 foot wide shared use public trail. So right now we don't know exactly where the township wants that trail to be located, but what it'll do is there'll be a note on the plan that will perpetually offer that right. So when the township does determine where it wants, you'll be able to place it, and it'll actually be a 20 foot wide easement. The next condition is applicant shall plant a denser planting of native trees and woody vegetation within the riparian buffer corridor, particularly in areas closest to the stream, to protect water quality, mitigate water temperature, and promote stream bank stability. And again, details of those additional plantings will be something that'll have to be worked out through land development. And then the last condition was something we did talk about briefly at the hearing, in that the area and bulk requirements for this townhouse development don't have a per lot maximum impervious cover. It's a track wide impervious cover. And we were just concerned about making sure that each unit, if somebody is conveyed just the building footprint and not a lot, we want to understand, and we want the homeowner to understand how much impervious cover was allocated to them from the builder, so that and that we understand what the stormwater management design was based on that number for each of the townhome units. So Lowell and Ray and I came up with this condition that requires them basically to put a table on the plan that identifies how much of the impervious cover they're allocating to each townhome unit. And that way we'll have this track, so that if somebody comes in, Ray will be able to go back to this table and see, are you going above what had been allocated to the point where now maybe additional stormwater would be needed. In speaking to the applicant's engineer, they're very much under what the maximum is. So it really is more of a stormwater concern than it would be of a zoning compliance concern. But again, we didn't see any harm in putting that condition on there. So Mr. Nagel provided to me after I had left the office a revision, again, wanting us to recognize the additional waivers that they had requested. I don't have any problem adding those as findings of fact. I already explained to you the change to the condition relating to the width of the streets. And again, some of that, I don't, and what I said to him, in our phone conversations was, I've not heard anybody say at the board, we're going to approve these revised plans, but then when we come to subdivision land development, we're not going to grant the waivers. Like, I think everyone understands it sort of goes hand in hand, but it's a timing. It's a timing that right now we're dealing with zoning, and when and if we get to the point where they submit the preliminary plans and it goes to the planning commission, it's going to come to a motion for you, and I write a motion just like I wrote here for conditional use, and we will specifically call it each of those waivers. So that's my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. I don't know if Mr. Nagel wants to make any comments.
Mr. Nagel.
Thank you. Good evening, Brian Nagel on behalf of the applicant. That was a pretty thorough review. I don't have much. I do want to reiterate that, obviously we've been through all the waivers. The waivers have been going all the way back to the sketch plan before the ordinance was changed. So I'll I'll trust that that will be approved during the land development process, maybe just before or at the time of the preliminary plan approval. Everything else is in order, I think, with the exception of there's one paragraph on, I think it's on page 9, round number 48 or so, that says there are no buildings or roads that are proposed to be built in the riparian buffer zones. I think that's meant to say there are no buildings or roads that are proposed to be built in the floodplain, because that would be a true statement. We talked about during the reviews of this plan that the township has a buffer zone 3 that comes 50 feet off of the limit of buffer zone 2. And there are improvements, including sections of a few of the townhomes in that buffer zone 3. So that's not accurate or consistent with the record. And that one would just need to be corrected. But with that minor correction, everything else I think is in order.
And so I specifically was not clear on what the disturbance was in the riparian buffer zones. And I did have a call with Lowell to go over that. If I have it wrong, I'm happy to go back to Lowell and confirm that. I agree. If this statement is wrong, I'm happy to change it, but I don't want to do that without consulting with Lowell. So I would say that if the board is comfortable, we could revise that to the extent that the engineer agrees that that's a statement. That statement is correct, what Mr. Nagel is saying. I'm not saying I don't agree with him. I'm saying that I myself was not 100% clear on exactly what was happening in each of the zones. And so what I drafted was based on my understanding of what I heard from Lowell. That's not to say I didn't get it wrong. And again, I don't want this to be wrong either. So I would just say, with your indulgence, let me go back and confirm that with Lowell, and we can change that fact to be the accurate statement, basically.
Commissioners, comments, questions?
I only have one question. Were the design plans required to show standards for decks or front porches in their plans?
No, we don't require them to do that. And they did. I mean, I think they are probably going to have a back deck. I mean, that was sort of the conversation we got into. And that's what that last condition is intended to do, that to the extent they're planning on having each of these homes have a back deck, then they need to show a table that shows, units 1 through 97. This is the impervious cover that's going to include either a front step, the building itself, and then a back rear deck area or patio. They're going to show us what that basically footprint is and calculate the impervious cover per lot.
Okay.
And what the condition actually requires is for the plan to show a chart for each lot, and then either the lot area that's designated for those improvements or the limited common element that might be included in the condominium declaration for those improvements. And so that will be shown on those plans.
But that'd be an option for the buyer. It doesn't necessarily mean that the property is going to come with that design, or?
Correct. The issue is that when the permit plans, once the land development plan is approved, when the permits plans come into the township, it's very hard for Mr. Stackhouse and the rest of the staff to track what's what. And so they just want to see on the approved plans, look, here's the area of the lot where you can put a deck or a patio, whatever the case may be. And as Ms. Camp said, there's no shortage of allowance for impervious coverage and stormwater management areas on this plan. It's really just a matter of being able to track from building permit to building permit what those pre-designated areas are. They just want to see that on the plan so they can back check it.
Okay.
And we talked to Mr. Gibbons, and he understands what we need to show on the plans for that.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say I wasn't at the January 9th hearing, but I did read the transcript, and I think Mr. Nagel's okay with me voting at this point, having
Yes.
read the transcript.
Yes.
He mentioned that. I think
Okay.
we covered that at the beginning of the hearing.
Okay.
Yep.
Commissioners, any other comments?
So if I could help you, and again, I'm not presupposing what you will do, but because you don't have the exact draft, what I would say is that you would approve it subject to the motion with the edit concerning the width of the road that we described, and then being able to change the facts relating to adding the waiver requests, to identify all the waiver requests, and to confirm with the township engineer what exactly is the encroachment into the riparian buffer zone. So those would be the changes to the facts. Does that make sense?
Probably after public comment.
Get a feel, feedback. Yeah, why don't I reach out to the residents here in the township building? Any comments, questions about this project? Dan, come on up. Name and address? Name and address as usual.
Dan Hagan, 217 Park Drive. I guess I just have a question about what was just being spoken about with that buffer zone to the floodplain. Was that to keep a distance from the floodplain? Is that what that?
No, it's a Saldo ordinance provision that you don't want encroachment within what the ordinance defines as riparian buffer zone 1, zone 2. And their plan today, they're already encroaching into these zones. So they're actually improving the property as far as encroachment into riparian buffer. So it's wherever the stream is, and I don't know what the distance is, if it's 25 feet. Yeah, so the subdivision ordinance defines what the riparian buffer is in terms of dimensions from a stream, from top of bank out. The existing condition today has encroachments. I mean, there's vehicles and pavement or gravel that's been compacted and everything. So what they're doing is some of their improvements, and the way I understood it was that there was going to be grading and installation of utilities within buffer zone 2, and there was going to be a stormwater level spreader and grading associated with installing that stormwater device within riparian zone 3. So that's what I understood to be happening. What Mr. Nagel is saying is that there's the portion of the trail extension and some of the road improvements on Geo Carlson Boulevard, that some of that will be within zone 2. And then again, really just the stormwater level spreader and other disturbance and within riparian buffer 3. So Lowell Lehman is the civil engineer. He identified, we went over this. I just need to make sure that what Mr. Nagel represented as far as what's happening within that. It's not happening within the stream itself. It's a certain distance from the stream.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
So I'm also just going to make a quick statement then also that I am of mixed emotion about this happening. One, I will certainly be very excited to not see sideways buses and things like that on the pathway on the way home. That has a level of excitement to it. It'll be all nice and clean. Won't see people dropping off their unused up Christmas trees to the side. Hopefully no more along that street. All great fun, but I am incredibly nervous, of course, along with 213 about short traffic parking.
Yeah.
What thoughts of people where they're going to park and where they won't. Even going onto Bondsville. But also for any changes which seem positive for the most part for the flood, but until they happen, I live with a level of trepidation. So just being out there, having been through it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you,
And
Dan.
I just want to say to that and to any resident that lives nearby that stay involved, stay active. I mean, again, this is step 1. Right. So it's step 2, come back to the meetings, voice your concerns. And if it gets approved, stay involved in step 3, like the construction stage. You have people here that are here to protect your interests. And if something goes sideways, make a phone call, come to the township, get them involved and have them help you. And hopefully you'll have a developer who is conscientious and concerned and wants to be a good neighbor. I mean, I think we've had a lot of that good experiences with that. But the only way the township knows about it is if your eyes and ears are the ones that are being impacted and come right away. And the township will do what it can, is what I would tell you. Yeah. And
yes.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
I know
And
you're
appreciate you being
staying.
here.
Yeah, it says a lot. Stacy, did you want to come back up? Thank you.
I don't recall hearing, I didn't attend the planning commission, but I don't recall, or Stacy Colburn, 213 Meadow Drive.
Thank you.
I don't recall hearing about a loop road off of the North Pod. So if there's any additional information that can be shared about that.
It's just the way the road is designed. So it's not like loop road might be not a great term, but it's just, it's one entrance
Shape.
and you can go
It's a
around.
U-shape.
Yeah. I can show you the plan if you want to see the revised plan. Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay.
And then second, you mentioned road improvements on Geo Carlson. Are those detailed out at this point or and are they able to be shared what they are?
Yes. Again, I think the plan, I can't speak to that. I mean, I know the plan showed that, and that's something that the township civil engineer actually recommended occur, right?
In broad sense, it improves when you come down, Geo Carlson, when you get to park, that not almost 90-degree turn left, that's improving how that flows around in a nutshell.
Anything from the other side of Geo Carlson, like trying to get like the traffic light and all of that? Or
No. Just a circle. Yep.
I can show you.
okay.
Yeah, it
I
is.
believe
but
it's up online. Yes.
and the other thing is, if not, if you can't tell clearly, come in, schedule with me to come in, show you in relationship to the other dwellings. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
Any other comments here in the township building?
No.
I do not see any hands raised. Anyone in Zoom? I did have one comment. I could find my note. This is sort of a question for the commissioners as well. And it's where the stamped concrete entrance. You know, I love the idea of the benches, the street trees, decorative lighting, the brick wall, sidewalk. I guess I need an explanation of what the stamped concrete entrance is going to look like. Is it something we really want?
I thought they showed it on their plan.
They did.
Yeah.
They showed it
like,
as an exhibit.
This,
like a brick in the concrete. I think it was.
does it look, do you want to make a comment on that?
Well, I think that's something we were asked to do as part of the enhancements along
Mhm.
Lincoln Highway, but if you could, if it's a condition in the conditional use decision, you could ask the solicitor to add the words that say at the discretion of the townships during land development, so that if you want to remove the stamped concrete and just have asphalt, you would have the latitude to do
Is
that.
it this? I'm sorry. The little white lines here?
I think it's everything.
Or, oh, the whole, okay, so the entrance, the driveway entrance, have a,
Red brick. It would look like red brick.
but it's something that needs to be maintained.
It would be by the homeowners association.
Okay, is this something we still want? I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, I do.
I,
I think it would really, and it would have a
like a nice entrance look
Yeah.
to it. Is
look
that it?
and also,
It's just at
potentially
the end.
minimize,
Right.
like, slow down.
You know, talking to the mic there.
Oh, yeah, I was saying, you know, it could also have, you know, I think it's very attractive. And makes the Lincoln Highway look better, but it could also have the side effect of people see it and they're like, oh, I gotta slow down here. So, I mean, I know that when I see that, it basically makes me think, oh, I gotta.
And
be
Mr.
more cautious.
Young is correct. It'll be a common element that's subject to the maintenance by the HOA.
Okay. Hey, just a thought. Sounds like most of the commissioners here would still like to see it. Yeah. Okay. Ladies.
It was nice.
Thank you. I'm sorry, it just flagged in my
No, of
mind when I
course.
read it, stamps, concrete entrance. I think it's just pretend.
Was it a airmail stamp or
Yeah.
was it a forever stamp? Or,
It was a forever.
I mean, the second sentence does say the details of the streetscape improvement shall be approved by the board. So to the extent, and I know this happened with the farmhouse, we had done something in one way, and then they came back during land development and said, well, from a maintenance perspective, and I think we had some leeway. So I think that language gives us the leeway we need to the extent that you get recommendations from your engineer that, this isn't a durable surface, or this should be use this surface, not that surface. I think the idea is generally you want these beautification measures along the streetscape. So I think we have enough flexibility with the way it's worded to get, again, the more detailed review and recommendations and pin that down during land development.
Okay. All right, perfect. You. That's all I had. And I do really appreciate the addition to the street lamps, making sure that we have electric sockets, the outlets for our Christmas decorations. Smooth move.
Mhm.
Any other comments from residents? Dan, hey, come on up to the mic.
get ready, Stacy, you're next.
This is just a Dan 217 Park Drive. To go along with that kind of area, and I think might have been brought before. There was a talk maybe years ago now of the possibility of a trail being put in it in somewhat of that area.
A good question.
Is that also something that is still in consideration? Because again, that's that was always the thing too. It's like, okay, where are those people going to park? Because they're going to come walk straight, in and outs of that kind of location in that spot. I didn't know where that fell.
Well,
in
yeah,
line
they
with all
wouldn't
this.
park there. They would park elsewhere to walk through that trail. But Abby, do you want to make a comment about because we do have an easement
Right.
for the section of trail. It's going to come through this property.
I mean, I don't think we've determined exactly the way the condition is worded. It's a blanket easement to go through the common open space.
Right.
But the intention would not be, well, until the whole trail project goes forward, and any trail project really has to have an evaluation of where trailheads are and where appropriate parking would be. So I don't think right now we can answer that. Will there be parking anywhere near where your road is? But
Yeah,
We're not there
in
yet.
the preliminary plans, like the feasibility study that we did, the trailheads were in the parks, so it would be in municipal park. I don't think anyone ever discussed having street parking or anything.
Right.
where
Like,
trail-
because this would just be kind of a pass through at some point. Like,
Mhm.
our area wouldn't really be like a starting or ending point.
Correct,
It would be kind of like,
except for you, I guess.
yeah, that's where I'll be entering in all the time. Yes,
Him and
yes, I
Stacy
do a
could
lot of
actually-
exercising. That's the thing that I've. Thank
Good, thank you. But that brings up another comment that originally in the plans, I'm trying to go back in my mind here, but were you going to have a little pathway from the back end project to
They
the shopping
connect.
center?
Oh, nothing to the shopping center, but the two paths connect, and then there'll be a sidewalk system that'll take you out to the roads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just so the folks over on, is it the north side, would be able to walk through.
They will.
And I do remember reading that
from the
there is
north
a
to the-
bridge presently across
Yes,
the.
they had a structural stability. They had a structural engineer come out to determine that can be used for pedestrian traffic.
Okay.
So people who live in the northern pod will be able to come down through that bridge area, get into the southern pod, and circulate on the sidewalk system to get out to the main road.
And that's actually kind of important, just to get the traffic, the walking traffic off of 340.
Yeah.
For the folks that live in that, in that area. It's perfect. Okay. Any other comments?
Yeah,
Art?
I'm sorry, Brian, that big things like this, I tend to have a little bit of lengthy statements. I do have. Since I was first elected, when I ran in 2019, I was elected, one of my core missions was reimagining and revitalizing Lincoln. And replacing a junkyard in the heart of Thorndale Village with townhomes should be an absolute no-brainer. Yet I found myself struggling with this final approval decision. Townhouse development on Lincoln Highway between Wedgewood and Bondsville Road is great. But I also needed to weigh in that position against the impact of the residents of Brookwood, who Stacy and Dan are here. This little development there seems to always get the short end of the stick in Callan. When there are heavy storms, they're the ones who flood. Even if it's not a major storm, they're the ones who flood. They're in the middle of this process of potentially having an apartment complex just to their western border, and then concerns about this. So I had to think a lot about that. I also had to think about my selfish side on this, that when I think of reimagining Lincoln Highway, I don't think of what we'll just do. I think of what it could be. And when I think of that space, that most important parcel in Lincoln Highway, right there, I wanted a wow factor. And I thought there was a lack of vision on the developer's side here. You were given the ability to go up 3 floors, and the hope was you would go up 3 floors and put a row of high-end 3-story condos facing Lincoln Highway, adorned with the type of architectural features that would make passerbys go, wow, this is Callan. And I think you came up really short on this. I tried to nudge you a number of times, but you decided to just go with the same old side of a building and side view of backyards, which I think is an insult to Callan Township history and what we're trying to do there. Well, we live in a state where the state has taken good, strong ties and wrapped it around each one of our hands. Municipalities, boroughs, we don't have control over these things. Because the laws are set up to make us have to just say, oh, well. You know, in the perfect world, it would have been a conversation right from the beginning of, hey, look, you know, if you could do this, you know, that it could have been smoother, I think, for me. In a perfect world, we did not have the government that we have in Pennsylvania. There would be a bus stop at that end. There would be a traffic signal paid for by the developer going in at the Lincoln Highway entrance. The developer would be funding a recalibration of the traffic signal at Geo Carson and Bondsville. The traffic engineer who came here to testify was arrogant and insulted my constituents. And I am still not happy about that. He owes this board and these residents an apology. Yes, traffic impact is minimized. I understand there's standards that the whole group of engineering, traffic engineers read through, but it was minimized. It will be more than they bargained for. And these could have been worked through. The other side of this, also, yeah, if a couple years from now, we find that the flooding has not been improved, you know, in the perfect world, the developer would be coming back and re-engineering that stormwater because they said it would improve it. There's a lot of things that should be happening in a perfect world, but we live in the state of Pennsylvania. And until we make some changes about how things are done in this state, we're going to have to live with this. The one final factor in this for me, besides what that improvement will do for the economy of Callan Township, is this. It's very rare that any proposed development offers positive environmental benefits. In this case, we've got a large tract that has been home to buses laying on their sides, tractor trailers laying on their sides for decades and decades and decades. And this development will clean that up. Get rid of that industrial wreckage, remove impervious coverage, and ultimately hopefully will improve the lives of everyone who live downstream. So with that, I'm going to vote for this when Paul calls the vote. But I just wanted everyone here to know I put a lot of thought into this. This is something I really wanted to happen until I started seeing how it was going. So hopefully when they go to Saldo, they'll think some things through. Thanks for letting me ramble.
All right, any other comments? We have one on Zoom. Who do we have? Yes, Noel.
Hello. Just wanted to say thank you, Mr. Evans. I missed a good bit of this, unfortunately, along the way. And I'm sorry to hear that someone was arrogant. That I understand that this is how things go sometimes, but thanks for noting that. That's all I wanted to say.
Always great to hear you, Noel. Look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks, Noel. All right. No further comments. Entertain a motion to approve the Cohen conditional use decision with the comment. Miss, yeah, page 9, number 48.
So moved.
So moved. I have a second. Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
So much. Was it for you, Ms. Camp? Yeah. Thank you. Have a great evening.
I'm sorry, Kristen. I made you sit here for a half an hour longer than you had.
All right, moving on to engineering. We have the retaining wall emergency replacement. I see Ross is online. Take care, gentlemen. Thank you.
Good evening.
Ross, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep. So I just wanted to provide a project update to start with for the Geo Carlson Boulevard retaining wall replacement. So I was going to share my screen and show a few photos.
Always love to see photos.
So you may recall that this was the existing condition before we started the project. So this is down near the stream at the east end of the wall, looking back towards the wall. And then at some pictures that follow are closer to the wall. So you can see the caution tape there. So they're kind of taken back behind that tree looking this way. And you can see the wall comes up and then leans quite heavily out this way, which is not good for a retaining wall. And similarly, looking the other way, there's the same lean there. So that was the condition that we were dealing with, which was a major problem. And then if I flip over to some pictures taken recently, this is a new retaining wall, which was built, say, just roughly like 5 feet in front of the old wall. And this wall, just based on its own weight and foundation, it supports everything that's behind it. So this is kind of towards the west end looking to the east. And then there's this picture is pretty close to where one of the other ones was taken looking this direction. So this is all new here. And then just stepping back a little bit towards the dentist office, you can see the wall going along Geo Carlson Boulevard there. So we think the construction was very successful. Like the entire wall is complete. And at this point, the only remaining tasks are just a few little minor punch list items and waiting until the spring weather to come forward. And that'd be the best time to do seeding so to grow grass. And then once that's done, the erosion and sediment controls can be removed and project will be basically totally done. So that's kind of an update of where we stand. And in connection with that, the contractor has submitted their pay application number 2. And so the total amount work done in the pay period was $229,440. And so 10% of that would be retainage. And so tonight we're asking for the board's authorization of payment to the contractor in the amount of $206,496. And that would get us to, that's 98% completion. The remaining 2% is just those minor cleanup and reestablishing the vegetation. And then retainage would be released as part of a final payment when we also receive maintenance bonds and closeout documents. So just to reiterate, the main emphasis of that would be tonight we're asking for the board's authorization of payment number 2 to the contractor in the amount of $206,496.
All right. Yeah, it looks good. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
That's
for
a
the
beautiful
pictures.
wall.
Thank you.
I had a question about the road itself. Ross, have you looked at the road? It seems like it's sunk a little.
We have looked at the road, and we noticed on the south side of the road that the curb had looked like it pulled away a little bit from the pavement. So that's something where we can definitely get that filled in and sealed. We can work with the Public Works Department for that. But is there a particular spot where it's like a subsidence, or did you observe a similar thing to what I just described?
Sort of what you said, but it just looks like the road has like a hump to it, but right at the curve where it curves.
Okay. I didn't notice that the last time we were out there. The road hadn't been all cleaned up yet from construction. So I think the next time we're out there, we can take a look at that and see if anything is needed. And we do have in the budget to do milling and overlay of the road if that is something that would be beneficial. So I think what we can do is take a look the next time we're out there and see if any of that paving work needs to be done.
Okay.
Good. Commissioners, any other comments?
Yeah.
This time,
How does-
residents?
How does this affect the trail, the running path there? Vince Rose loves to use.
The path on the north side of the road was open during construction, so pedestrians could still get by.
Excellent. And is it in good shape right now?
No, I wouldn't say that the path itself is in good shape, but that was not in the scope of the emergency wall replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Also very narrow.
I'm always nervous driving a bike there.
Yeah,
Barbara.
Yeah,
it's pretty close between the guide rail and the fence.
no one goes any faster than 35 out there. What's the matter with you?
Well, the guide rail's there, and
Yeah.
the posts stick into where
Yeah.
you run. So
Right,
if
yeah.
you're running and somebody comes by, you have to stop and move over. So it is very tight. I don't know why they designed it like.
Years ago. All right. Anyone, residents here in the township building, any comments? Anybody get a chance to take a look at the wall? You don't need to go to the dentist to take a look at it. You can just go to the parking lot. Anyone in Zoom? All right. I will entertain a motion to approve payment application number 2.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thanks, Ross.
Thank you.
That's all we had for you.
I think that's the agenda
Ross,
for tonight. Yep. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
one thing for Ross, boy, that farmhouse roof looks good. That
Glad to
porch
hear it.
looks good.
Yes, just to give you a very brief informal update on that. The contractor did receive today those final parts that they were waiting for that had a long lead time, which are their snow guards. So they should be, now that they have the materials they need, they should be wrapping up within a couple weeks, I believe. And they were also kind of needed some warmer weather too, because some of the remaining tasks relate to painting. So we want to make sure that the paint has the proper temperature when they apply it.
If they accidentally paint the whole house, I won't complain.
We'll let them know.
All right. Thanks, Ross.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Next, resolutions. Mr. Rimazal, do you want to lead us on this?
Of course. Good evening, commissioners. Just one resolution for consideration.
Your battery dying there?
It's okay. Can you hear me?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Now you can?
Barely.
Check with
Um,
Noel. Noel, can you hear Don? You can see him. Can you hear him?
Can you hear me now? Let's swap.
Make sure.
How's that one? It's a little loud. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try that again. Just one resolution for consideration by the board this evening. This is an administrative function. Periodically, just hard copy paper documents that are required to maintain by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to reach a point where legally we're authorized to dispose of them properly, shredding in a secure manner. The police have compiled a list of records that meet those requirements in terms of disposal, and for your consideration to allow the removal of those hard copy documents.
Commissioners, any comments, questions? I'm not hearing word up here. How about residents here in the township building? Any comments on destroying documents? They're old. These are citations, parking violations. We don't need.
Yeah.
What, 10 years?
Anyone in Zoom? None at this time. All right. And I'll-
Question.
Yes.
Do we do this on site, or do we have to go to a shredding company to?
It depends on the amount. If we have quite a large volume, they can come out with a truck that's secure. Again, the most important thing is these documents would not be just thrown into the trash or recycled. There's a secure process that we have to follow. So they are in locked containers that are then placed in a shredding truck and disposed that way. So they would not, there's no risk of any loose paperwork getting caught in the wind. Yeah.
I was just wondering if that is done on site.
We can, again, if it's a large enough to fill a truck, they'll come on out and collect all those boxes. Otherwise, if it's a one bin, they will come out and collect that bin and replace it with an empty one and dispose on at their facility. In this case, I presume it would be based on a number of documents and on-site disposal.
Great. No further questions? Entertain a motion to approve resolution 20, no, where am I here? Yeah, 2025-08 for the disposition of the police documents. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kennedy, second by Commissioner Tindaro. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Right along. Oh, are we on the director's reports? As I like to say, the meat and potatoes of the meeting. We can start off with the fire company. Patrick, welcome.
I like moving this year to first of the list from the bottom. So thank you, Liberty.
Yeah. Changing it up.
Yeah. So first, and I apologize to the residents behind me, but I do want to say thank you. Our fund drive went out beginning in January. And we've received an overwhelming number of donations thus far. So thank you so much to those who have donated. A reminder will probably be going out sometime late March. So don't worry if you want to still donate, you still have time. Other than that, we're wrapping up our internal yearly certification classes like the CPR, first aid, hazmat type of things. And we're eager to get outside with the nice weather to the different areas of the township and do some different trainings and things like that. And finally, I just want to give Director Huggins and his staff a huge thank you. I know we didn't have monstrous snowstorms, but I appreciate it. It seemed like a township public works truck was always at the firehouse salting. So as we had to respond, or the ambulance had to respond, we could do so safely. So thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Other than that, you have my report for January. That's all I have for you.
How's it been up on the bypass? Still people making it harder for you to do your job up there?
I wish we could eliminate the bypass. I really do. I think multiple people
Yeah.
Unfortunately, last week we had several instances where
Mm.
obscenities were shouted at us, like we caused the accident.
Yeah.
We kind of just go, okay, yeah, sorry. We're not here to ruin anybody's life. But yeah, unfortunately, and it's not just on the bypass, it's everywhere you go,
Yeah.
whether you're on a side street or not. But we all know what's been going on over the last week of the bypass with potholes and things like that and the sinkhole. But
Yeah.
yeah, accidents, we don't like being up there because we want to go home safe, and having cars fly by you at 80 miles an hour be your head's always on a swivel, but we do what we can. Stay
Sorry
safe.
that you go through that. I really appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you for
For a thankless job, we thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you, Patrick. And I did make my payment online. So, yes.
You'll get the reminder. It's coming. It's coming. Sitting there on my desk.
Hey, we have Minquist EMS service.
You too. It's sitting on my desk.
Well, the reminders went out, so you should have the reminder.
Right there.
Well,
Can we pay online for?
No.
Because yeah, I didn't think so. I had
Yeah,
both
so
of them
years
on my
past-
desk.
Years past, we allowed that. Found out it was more of a problem than it was a good thing. So we went back to the trusty old check system. So
Well, Commissioner Evans will send in my payment.
yeah, you can send it in for all 5. That'd be great.
It's in the mail.
And to piggyback off of that, thank you to Abby for also putting it up for the residents. And again, the reminder did go out.
Good.
So it should be in the mailbox here soon. So good evening. I think you guys have my January report, our January report in your packets. Just touch on some bases. Minquist responded to 570 calls to service, just highlighting the report. Not going to read the whole thing, which reflects the 39% increase from January 2024. Of those calls, 322 are ALS or advanced life support, 248 were BLS or basic life support, with 334 patients being transported. Our crews transported 4 pediatric patients to Chop Cop and 3 specialty cases to Reading. So spread the wealth a little bit. Took patients where they needed to go. So, as noted in the 2024 report, the rise in call volume has led to increased wait times for not just for Minquist, but for all the EMS services in the region here. Our operations leadership has begun monitoring these trends to better understand resource allocation and ultimately enhance service delivery to our community. So on that topic, wait times is one of the metrics that we use. Average wait time is 30 minutes. So our average wait time for the month as a whole was 14, which is good. However, there are some outliers there that are 9% of our transports were wait times from 30 to 60 minutes, and 2 took about 80 and 81 minutes. So we're trying our hardest. We're reevaluating. We're monitoring that challenge. As discussed during your January meeting, one of our goals for 2025 is to ramp up our community education and outreach efforts. I have finally compiled a report summarizing that in 2024 for you guys. Minquist received a state grant for car seats to be loaned out to the community, which is phenomenal. It was a state grant. So anybody who's in need of a car seat, we have them to loan out to the community in need. For example, we donated or we loaned them out to a family on Christmas Day at PLA Hospital. So that's just the impact that Minquist is making and giving back to our community. Overall, we distributed 5 car seats in 2024, and this grant is a revolving grant. So once we get low, we'll keep that up. Got to take care of even the littlest community members as well. So that's one of the things that we're kind of ramping up and priding ourselves on for 2025 and beyond. Additionally, we have car seat technicians. They completed 28 car seat safety checks for the youngest residents of the Downingtown region in 2020. And then thus far,
in 25, we've loaned out 4 car seats to those in need, and 2 more are scheduled for this week. So that's a huge thing. CPR instructors, they taught 23 classes and certified 63 members of the public in life-saving skill of CPR in 2024. This is just the beginning, and we hope to expand this program further in 2025. So I didn't have that for the last meeting, so I wanted to bring that to the commissioners tonight, just to show the community involvement as well as everything else that our providers do on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, next we have Ingleside Golf Course that I am representing today with my sweatshirt.
Same. Twins. Twins.
Twinsies.
Oh yeah. Good evening.
Baby.
January was extremely slow. More than half of the month covered in snow. I did not mean to rain just now. It's pretty good.
You're having a good night. You're having a
It's
good
pretty
night.
good. But it didn't stop us from getting a ton of things done. From the logistics of the business to servicing equipment, repairing equipment. We're doing as much as we can in-house, which is fun and challenging, and we're having a good time. We've identified a ton of weaknesses in the business plan, and we're correcting them going forward, and we're excited for this season. The bunker project, repairing the sand bunkers across the property, which in the end will serve a dozen purposes. It's moving along. It's slower because of the weather. When it's wet and soft, we can't do much. When the ground's frozen, we can get a lot done. And now we're warming up. Golf is picking up. But I don't have a ton for you. But I did bring someone along with me to the meeting tonight. Our new golf operations manager, handling the golf side, the tournaments, the members, those types of ins and outs. Mr. John Grant is here tonight, and I'd love to introduce him. And he'd love to. If he doesn't mind giving a little bit of his spiel, that would be great.
Come on up, John.
Great.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
Oh,
Welcome for
hi.
having me. It's nice to finally be here. So I don't have too much to say, but since I came on board in October, a lot of work has been done to run the operation from a business perspective. And my background is I'm a business guy, business operator, and so there's been a lot of productive work that's been done. The one thing I do want to say, one is that we have a lot of optimism, assuming it actually gets above 30 degrees and stays that way for a little while. We have a lot of optimism going into this golf season, and whether it's just a bustling beehive of activity and events, clinics, and allowing the golf course to function as really as a active community center within Count Township. The offer the ability for folks who get into the game of golf, folks and families in the community can spend summertime evenings and afternoons on our facility. And the reason I bring that up is because one of the things we're going to be looking for going forward is for the other members of the community to come to us, because we're sitting here on a parcel of land which obviously is a golf course, but is one that offers the ability to service and provide an event space for a whole constituency of people that maybe wouldn't consider themselves traditional golfers. We have a pavilion in the summertime. It's beautiful. And so we want to, we'll look for different parts of the community to come to us and tell us, hey, what about this? Hey, what about this? Because we're open for business in the sense of wanting to position and want the golf course to be a revitalized opportunity for the broader community. And so whether it's fundraisers for our emergency services folks, or whether it's a harvest festival or whatever it is. I would just ask humbly that if you keep your eyes and ears open, feel free to come to me or Nicole, and we would love to figure out ways that we can support the community at large. So that's all I have for now. But I'm sure you get all the. This is my first meeting, but I'm sure you get all the details and updates from a regular basis. So thank you for having me.
And thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for finally showing up here at our meeting. And
Thank you.
we've had a chance to get to know John for a bit, and he's a great addition to the
Yes.
team here. So, and a huge help for Nicole. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. I looking forward to big things this year. And see it. It's around the corner. Spring's almost here.
Yeah.
I have one question, but just every now and then I remember this. Couple who get bombed by golf balls every year. Has that been all worked out now?
So the test solution was to change the angle of the tee shots.
Yes.
As soon as that was done, golf started to slow way down.
Okay. All right.
And so it's hard to get data, but we have checked in with them, and we're anxious to check in with them once the golf season starts again. I'm hopeful that that solved a hunk of them, but I don't know yet.
There's always going to be someone who's going to slice one.
Well,
You don't want me up there.
yeah, and we don't. You know, we are that golf course that really caters to the beginner golfer, the junior golfer, the struggling golfer, the everything golfer. And we love having them out there. But that's what happens when you have them out there. There's errant balls. So North Bailey Road and gosh, I bet even Gio Carlson could experience some falls, but we will definitely check in with them this spring, and if anything else, to get the balls back. But no, they're very kind and patient with me, incredibly patient with me, and I do appreciate that patience. But it is a constant reminder to our golfers that it is their responsibility. If an errant ball strikes a vehicle or a home, it is the golfer's responsibility. That's reminded to our golfers through signage and verbally by our staff. So hopefully we have less of that this year. With the repeat golfers, hopefully they're getting better. And hopefully we can get some lessons going again this year, and maybe we can improve some of those errant shots.
I'm really excited for this year and appreciate everything.
We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Be a great year.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.
Hey, Public Works. Johnny, what's happening?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
A short and sweet winter time. Pretty busy, you know, salting, plowing, or those storms we had, you know. Not big storms, but long ones. The guys been out, you know, overnight and stuff like that. And you know, got a lot of new guys here, and I think about 6 new guys that really started getting into winter work and doing pretty good. You know, they're working together and learning the ropes. So in that part, you know, those guys are doing well. We received a new new tag trailer, help us out in the springtime to haul our equipment around so we can get with this stormwater work. Ready to go and hit the ground running. It's pretty much doing maintenance around the shop and trying to do everything. So pretty much that's about it.
Good job.
Yeah, what time is it? It was like 7:15 in the morning. I was taking my wife to the train station. You guys were out there collecting trash already. I mean, yeah, there is no slowing you guys down. It's good to see you out there.
7:05 out the door.
Yep. All right. Building life and safety. Ray.
Sir.
Oh,
Yeah, I turned it down to like 69. Yeah. Thank you, commissioners. You have my report. I'll do a couple big highlights here. We issued 60 or processed 67 permits in January, 134 rental application activities, 28 code violations issued, 74 enforcement activities. Several land development projects obviously still going in different phases. One thing since my report, the Hills at Thorndale Woods, you may see they have the foundation to the first single family dwelling and the foundation to 4 packet townhomes has been started. So you should see those dwellings going up soon. From an emergency services perspective, civil service testing is scheduled for March 8th, so it's coming quick. As of today, I believe we had 14 applicants. So that'll be in 2 Saturdays. Hopefully we'll get a decent list. We're looking for 2 full-timers and at least 3 part-timers.
And that's for firefighters.
Firefighters,
Yes.
correct. Sorry about that. We're in the process of developing an emergency service drone program. To that end, we have 4 firefighters or fire marshals that are 107 certified, so they have their pilot's license. The next step is we have a national certification program that we're going to run in the spring. We did purchase what I would call a practice drone, so a smaller drone that eventually can be used for some emergency management and code enforcement stuff. So those guys are starting to get proficient in that while we're waiting on this next class. Commercial fire inspections and vacant property registrations kicked off. So that paperwork and those inspections are started. From a training perspective, I have 1 fire marshal and fire investigator certification class this month, 1 firefighter and fire inspector 1 and 2, and then, like I said, the drone certification program. So that's it.
Thanks, Ray.
It's worth noting, actually, I was going to say, we have 3 of the career firefighters we're working this evening. They left along with the chief to assist West Brandywine on a commercial building fire. So, or I would have introduced them.
I have one thing I want to throw out there for you, Ray.
Sure.
And it's only because I missed it in my notes here when we were talking about Cohen. When we get to building permits and things, can we stipulate that all construction vehicles must enter and exit off of Lincoln Highway and not Meadow and Park and Geo Carlson?
Oh, you mean for the Cohen project?
Yeah.
So we can certainly look into that. I think the biggest concern is going to be that continued, you have to remember bifurcating that property is wetlands and riparian buffers and floodplain.
Yeah.
So the concern most likely is going to be that repeated disruption in that area may be difficult, but we certainly can have that discussion when we start pre-con. For sure.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Ray, thank you.
Sure.
Police chief is not in attendance.
Now,
this evening?
unfortunately, this is one of a very rare occurrence where the chief had a conflict this evening. He was attempting to join remotely, but was having some difficulty with signal. So unfortunately, he was unable to join us. I believe you should have the report, of course, with any updates, but he does apologize. He's unable to be here this evening. It happens rarely.
Yeah, no problem there. And community enhancement. This is our favorite part, by the way.
Aw. Thanks. So January was pretty low key. We didn't have a lot of events, which was good because we are planning for this upcoming year. A couple of the highlights, I think everyone has probably seen Director Huggins's YouTube debut.
Star.
It was very popular, and it's the first of many. So I appreciate his willingness to go first and try to recruit everybody else to make more video content. The manager and I had a great meeting with representatives from the DCNR to talk about our upcoming grant application for Beaver Creek Trail Segment 5. So that is exciting and in the works. They were pretty excited about it as well. So all good feedback from that meeting. And with all of Jessica's help, all of our social media numbers, website hits, everything is just like through the roof because we have a lot more content than we ever did in the past, and arguably better content. So things are going great there. Good newsletter in January, and then the February one, which I'll talk about, I guess, next month. But that was a real group effort. So I appreciate everybody else helping out with that sort of finance focused February newsletter. Just a point of interest, our top performing posts on Facebook in January were the Geo Carlson road closure, the police and firefighter hiring, some random snowy pictures of the township and our historic buildings, and then the announcement of all of our decorating contest winners. So that was a big hit again this year. So if anyone has any questions, otherwise that's it for me.
Commissioners, any comments, questions for our directors?
Not the National Pizza Day.
That was good.
But that was this month.
Oh, that was this one.
So I'll talk about it next month. But yeah, that was a hit as well.
That was, yeah.
And wait till you see the one that's coming out on Sunday.
Well,
you're gonna love it.
I will tune in.
And did any of the other directors give you a hard time when you got back from vacation? Were they? Because you have set the new bar. We will expect.
I do apologize for that. And nobody was angry to my face, at least. So
Okay.
I appreciate it. I felt bad for missing the meeting, so I was overcome.
You did an outstanding job.
Thank you.
That was an incredible report, annual report.
It was great to have Jess here, and I didn't have to worry about it.
Ray's sweating. Look.
Yeah.
He was sweating.
There's other ways to try.
It is. Oh, too funny. So, well, at the end of the director's reports, I just wanted to reach out. Katerina, are you having a good time at our meeting here? It is. We do get a lot done. If you notice, there's a lot of folks here that they work hard on making sure that this township runs properly, and we're having a good time about it too.
Out on the road.
Okay.
You know, we have weather. You know, but people, everything else slide down the hill and. Yeah, concerned. Hundreds of fault. Out on the road.
Yeah.
Police are watching.
Very good.
Like to see the truck.
Yeah. And we really appreciate you sticking around too and enjoying the whole meeting.
It's
Oh.
Yeah, we're so glad you did stay, and we really wish more residents would come to really get a feel for what's really going on here. A lot of misinformation gets out there on social media, and this board cares about this township, cares about you. So, you're gonna run for office.
All right, I will move on here. Township manager, what do we have? Commercial mower purchase.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, well, we have the cameras zooming in.
Thank you, commissioners. Just a couple items here this evening, several of which we did discuss in the work session 2 weeks ago. The first is involving the purchase of 2 commercial mowers. This would be for public works. Last year, and it's a later item on the agenda, when we were going through the lawn maintenance bid, contracting that out, There was a question regarding the Amtrak right-of-way properties, and we did look into that. And it was one of the highest sections of that bid from a cost perspective. We were able to certify members of the Public Works Department as eligible to mow that property. In order to do so, of course, we need mowers, and researched a couple different options. And the recommendation is to purchase 2 of the Eagle Power Turf tractor Kubota ZD 1200 series diesel engine. These are commercial grades, so not in addition to being able to mow the Amtrak right-of-ways, other areas of the township that there's been discussions about improved maintenance, they'd be eligible to take care of those sections as well.
Does it have 0 turn ratio? Perfect.
Director Huggins, do you have anything you care to?
Nothing like.
How wide is the blade? Is it 12 feet? Yeah.
72-inch cut. Great. Good bang for the buck. I think they were pretty
11
good
foot
deal.
mower. Not an 11-foot mower. She's the only one.
Bigger than
with an
that.
11-foot mower.
Yeah.
Well, you can always go to the golf course.
Yeah.
Help. That would be nice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's great.
and I'm not sure if Don had brought it up. I know I read it, but mowing the section that we're taking away from the farmland around Spackman Farm, that would also be included on our.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the cost of 2 is 34,923. It's pretty good. Life expectancy, what do they run, about 5-7 years?
Take care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you take care of them, your
Warranty.
pretty much. Eagle Power's right down.
Yeah, and we have adequate trailers to haul all of this equipment all throughout the township. Right. Okay. Our equipment. Good.
Those Kubota mowers last forever.
Yeah.
They rot out before.
They're pretty old, huh?
The mower deck rots out before the motor ever gives out.
Good.
All right, commissioners, any comments on this? Residents here in the township building? They're just all excited about it. They can't wait
Yeah.
to see them. Anyone in Zoom?
Can't wait to see the grass.
Nope. We entertain a motion to authorize the purchase of 2 commercial grade Kubota. Kubota. You know what I'm talking about, for the amount of 34,923.40.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor, say aye.
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 Passes 5-0. Great. Next item.
Thank you, commissioners. Next, as was mentioned, we have request to advertise the 2025 property maintenance, the lawn contract for the spring, summer, and early fall season. As mentioned, we did remove the Amtrak section of the bid document. This would be advertised twice, as according to the requirements, with the bid opening towards the I think the 3rd week of March, and then if everything looks acceptable, would be at the board agenda during the business meeting at the end of March for consideration.
And you also are removing the snow mobile?
We did, yes. This through discussion with Director Huggins, when that was included in the property maintenance bill, that bid, the staffing and a number of vehicles that the township had in operation required for larger storms some support. At this point, we are fully staffed to handle larger events, along with individuals from CTMA providing some additional service as needed. And we feel in some ways it may actually open up the bid document to some additional interest from individuals in the community that may not be interested or able to provide the snow removing, even though it's an optional component of the bid. I feel it may have kept some individuals from completing the application or the bid document.
Good insight there, John. Yeah.
You.
All right. Hopefully
You.
All right. Well, commissioners, any comments, questions on this?
No.
No? Our residents here in the township building? No hands raised at this moment. Anyone in Zoom? So, all right, entertain a motion to authorize staff to the 2025 municipal property maintenance bid.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Right along.
All right, keeping in the theme of public works as we gear up for maintenance season. And Director Huggins, I'll let you lead off of this because this was an innovative idea that you came up with last year, and I think there's some updates that are make it even better. The street sweeper.
Street sweepers.
So,
Street sweeper truck.
can we hear? All right. Yeah. So, like we did last year, I thought it was a good success. We took care of the roads with our guys because our guys know the roads. So we didn't have no kind of hiccups of people not doing the proper areas and not doing 30 when they're supposed to be doing our township roads. So that was a good thing. I kind of did a sort of like a bidding war in trying to get the prices down. So we went from, it's in the packet, we went from, I think it was like around 12 last year for a month down to 9 something. So with a new vendor, still in the same place at Harrisburg, it's going to be the same deal. We go pick up the truck. Our guys are going to have it for a month and sweeping our own roads. So
That's great.
keep them bidding, prices go down. So
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah,
that'll work.
Yeah, we had 3
That's
good
good.
bids. And they were kind of close. I mean,
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
3,000? Less than
Excellent.
3,000 difference. Yeah. So,
I think
but
that's
yeah, the
great.
lowest bid of 99.45.
Yep.
For the month. That's perfect.
Very good. And we generally can get the township done within a month.
Yeah, we can get it done. Long, we get the good weather, no overpowering rain. I mean, you can still with the drizzle. It's a good thing. It's pretty good thing with water, but you can't have too much water because the machine will suck up too much water. So as long as you don't have no monsoons or something like that, we're good to go.
Okay.
Commissioners, any comments, questions on this? This time, here in the township building, any residents? Pretty excited to see our streets all nice and clean. Anyone in Zoom? Going to argue with that. Entertain a motion to authorize the township manager to sign the agreement with Stewart Amos Equipment for the monthly rate of $9,945.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Tendero, second by Commissioner Evans. All in favor, say aye.
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 Passes 5-0. A good time sweeping up the roads. All right. We have 2 trailers put on municipal bid. Who wants to explain this one?
So go for it.
Yeah, so the tag trailer that we just had, the 2025 tag trailer that we just purchased will, take over those jobs of those old trailers. They're old, they're, falling apart. So, You know,
Well,
it's time.
one was
it's,
what,
it's time for them to go.
1988. I love it.
Like, holy cow.
Yeah. So they've been around. They served their purpose.
Almost a young man back then.
36 years old.
Yeah.
All you got to say is they were from the 1900s.
So we're see if someone needs them. So
Excellent. No, great.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, even a few bucks if we get a few bucks.
Right.
That works.
Yep.
It's good. No brainer, but comments, questions, commissioners? Nope. Here in the township building? Anybody looking for a cheap trailer? No? Anyone in Zoom? Entertain a motion to authorize staff to put the 1988 trailer and the 1998 trailer on municipal.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Motion passes 5-0. Few bucks. Ooh, the bathroom repairs. All right, who wants to take this one?
I think we'll both take a component of it, but
Okay.
just to start, this was discussed amongst staff for several weeks, but we did not have the quotes in time presented at the work session. Essentially, the public works restroom facilities have not been improved for quite some time. We were able to get some quotes regarding what those repairs would be, and the low bid for that, I believe, was $22,500 for the necessary repairs to that facility. In working through with the department, there were some larger questions raised about the condition of facilities, public works, obviously, based on the activities that occur on that site, a lot of trucks, a lot of equipment, it does take its toll. And it is in need, in addition to the bathroom, some other areas that could use some TLC, if not some more extensive TLC. So in addition to the discussion on opening up the repairs to the restrooms, wanted to also mention this is something we have been talking about internally here and wanted to bring to the board's attention that if acceptable, would want to continue that conversation from a public setting moving forward. Director Huggins, would you care to speak about the specifics of the repairs?
Yep. So
Right.
like I said, you know, we got more personnel down there, 9 guys down there using one facility, kind of don't work, you know. Then what it's going to do is open up our small garage a little bit, because in our small garage, I don't know if you've been down there, our locker room, long time ago, they built a locker room inside the small garage, so it's taking up space. So I got with with Ray's help, an engineer came in and designed the back bathroom and everything for us to accommodate a locker room, plus more facility for bathroom, stuff like that for the guys. So you know, for now, and I think that'll help the guys out and give us some space in the shop. You know, trucks are getting bigger, so we'll see how that helps out. We'll see where that goes.
Guys are having growing pains.
Very much growing pains. Yeah.
Taking on a lot of the responsibility of the town. And doing more things in-house and, saving a lot of money. Need the space and the accommodations to house this new equipment and, keep things safe. I can't leave this equipment out and to be weathered.
Right. So like right now, if you guys ride back there during the daytime, it's a lot of dead trees going up down there that we have equipment outside. So we've been, with the downtime we have right now, we've been clearing a lot of dead trees and stuff from, falling on the trucks and buildings, and of course the new backhoe you guys approved and stuff like that. So yeah, so doing some work back there, making Abby happy, making her parking lot.
Yeah.
So that area it'll look different where those bins are behind the police station. We're moving those bins back out of the public eye, so it's not an eyesore when it comes down to Christmas tree lightings and public functions around here. So.
Excellent.
Okay. I have some specific questions. Because it's updating the toilets. Are you adding additional toilets or space, or give me an idea of what we're adding to?
Adding, we're adding one toilet to the bathroom area.
And how many presently do you have?
One.
One?
Yes.
For 9 guys?
For 9 guys.
Oh my. So 9 people in one house.
So imagine when someone's in there, so get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of banging on the doors, hurry up type of deal.
Yeah.
So.
And Scott doesn't let you go over to the pump station?
And it's a shower that was in there that's going to be removed. Nobody never used that since I ever worked here. So that's going to be moved, and that space is going to be, I wish I had the diagrams I would show you, but where the shower is where it's going to sink on being. We're kind of making the bathroom kind of smaller, but we're getting more toilet space. So if you.
Okay. Toilet, additional sink or anything?
So when it's.
Or is it like a communal sink?
Yeah, it's like a wash sink.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yep. Industrial wash sink that would be in the bathrooms.
Thank you.
Oh, you guys taking off? Yeah, this is a late meeting.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Oh.
Good job.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night. See you, Alicia.
So yeah.
Okay.
Extra toilet will help out.
Extra toilet.
A little bit.
Now, in the grand scheme of things, because I've talked to Don about this too, because I know with the salt building, you know, we're looking to renovate that down the road. The building that this is in, are we looking to renovate this building as well down the road?
Down the
Is this
road.
a temporary fix? Is it something that we can? Because it's $22,000. I want to be able to, one, make sure you guys have toilets,
right?
And two, you know, in a year or 2 years' time, are we losing that 22,000 and renovating everything, or what's our ultimate goal for that?
The ultimate goal is to, you know, yes, it's kind of like, yeah, we're going to be losing that in a year or two if we expand that building. But, so we do have a lot of trucks that's sitting out, you know, you guys are approving trucks for us, which is, you know, I love it. It's great for us.
Yeah.
But we have nowhere to park them inside.
More ports.
So we have a lot of trucks. We have a lot of smaller trucks outside, let alone the bigger trucks that we're getting. In that bay, it's kind of like, you know, nowhere to put them once we get them. And, you know, we normally used to keep the backhoes inside. Right now, we have to keep them outside because, you know, they're getting bigger and the fields, you know, so.
Not good.
Yeah, the end all goal is for, you know, what me and Don was talking about. We walked back there last year or something, and you know, enough space for the vehicles, putting things inside where they're supposed to be. So once we get new things, they're not being beat up by the weather or falling branches or whatnot. So we never had no theft back there, but you know, knock on wood.
Yeah,
didn't happen. So
right.
I like to keep things locked up because some of the trucks we do have has tools in them, and you know that's a concern too.
And I think we, you know, the first step is really getting a handle on what is possible, both in terms of the space allotted, which we are privileged to have a decent amount of property to work with, but then also, of course, what's the financial impact, and then long-term planning. So engaging with someone that's familiar with this type of work, we can provide some options for the board and the public to consider. I think would be something that we would have to go through that process before. And to Director Huggins' point, we want to make sure that the investment that the township has made in the equipment, that it's protected. At the same point, we want to be, you know, smart about long-term planning and getting a handle on what is possible and what it may cost, and then going from there, I think would be a very important step in this whole process.
I know just some $22,000 Band-Aid might seem like a good idea, but I come from the blue collar side of the world. I know how some people think, oh, well, too bad, they work outside anyway. These guys deserve a bathroom. We got new, retention, employee retention is crucial, and employee attraction is crucial. And providing somewhat acceptable bathrooms is something we have to do. And if whatever they do now can be worked into the master plan when they go to the next thing, but one way or the other, this has to happen. We can't leave these guys. I mean, they need a bathroom.
They need more than two.
Yeah, they actually need three in there.
But no, this is a great conversation because I know we want to get some work done there.
Right. And you might have some ladies come on
self-storage.
board at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Combinations.
much.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get another.
I think long-term goal, yeah, we need to start looking at
Did have some girls
improving
working this.
or renovating even further down the road. But I mean, the bathroom is important.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so-
Are they going to be running new pipes underground too to connect to what you have?
Not underground, just in the bathroom. They're just gonna connect to the existing trap and everything that's in the bathroom.
Okay.
So
No, you're not getting tapping fees on
Oh, man, he tried.
Sorry.
so yeah, no new pipes outside.
Okay, so I don't have to involve Scott. Okay.
Well,
All right.
And pretty much that bathroom area is gonna be bathroom locker room. at the city.
Okay,
Really?
with this modification.
Yes.
So they can, okay,
So
properly.
they're gonna be able to change in there and bathroom.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Bathroom.
All right. And then let's start with the bigger,
thank you.
picture. Start talking about updating our buildings there as well.
Can include it on future agendas for discussion and start seeing what options are available, of course.
What time's your flight tomorrow, Josh?
8:30.
Oh, all right. All right. I'm trying. All right.
So moved.
No questions from residents? Bathrooms are important. Anyone from Zoom? Okay.
The dwindling crowd.
Nope, just all right. Entertain a motion. Yes.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Fine.
Okay, motion is good, and that is to Vaughn Construction Service in the amount of $22,500.
Excuse me. Do you
Yes.
think you need like pots with running water until you get this facility
Yeah, we're gonna be looking into that.
up and running? I was just,
Yeah.
just something else to have
Oh,
there
yeah.
until we get the construction.
Yeah, so I've been trying to search around for those and getting a decent price on it.
Yeah,
So,
because they
but
do
they're-
them with the
they're
running water.
really not
They're
cheap at all.
expensive.
They're very
but
expensive.
Something until.
Yep.
It's.
All right, next on the agenda, the street light maintenance contract.
Right. Thank you, commissioners. The information is included in the board packet, of course. Did reach out. This is a contract, a service agreement for street light maintenance. These are the Cobra Head LED lights.
Yep.
A lot of this happened, of course, before my time, but during the upgrade, we had a contract with Michael Fuller from Keystone, and it was the changeover to LED. And Armor and Sons were affiliated with that contract and provided the installation of the new LED lights and then any maintenance during that period of time. Since the installation's been done and the contract has closed, we're now at a point where we have to go out and find our own service contract. For when these lights happen to malfunction in some way, even if it's just a small change to go out and reset something, having someone come out to take a look at it. So we reached out, Public Works and Director Huggins reached out to a number of local companies that do this type of work. Lenai out of Westchester and Charles Higgins and Son. We did attempt for Armor Sons had been familiar with the community, so we reached out to them, and they have a lot of work through these retrofitting, these upgrading contracts, and they more or less didn't say it, but I think they have a lot of work on their plate right now. So they were not as interested in continuing and advised us to look elsewhere. But we did attempt in order to have a third option. So the prices here are before you. The recommendation from Public Works is Charles Higgins and Son in order to take over that contract.
That's who does our street light or our traffic lights.
Didn't know, sir.
Yeah. Didn't Higgins used to do our traffic? I think they did.
Yeah.
All right, commissioners, any comments? Looks like a good rate.
Yeah.
Residents here in the township building? None at this time. Anyone in Zoom?
Hey, if Mike Bedrick, Noel, and Tom Parr would drop off a Zoom, we wouldn't even have to ask them anymore.
What do we only, what, 3 people left?
That's it.
All right, stick with us. We're almost done.
A quick question.
Sure.
The lights that we're talking about, is this for all of the regular lights, or were we talking about the Christmas lights?
It's the Cobra Head regular light.
Cobra Head, but they would have decorative lights. They would be able to provide service for those, I believe, as well. So any of the street lights, the holiday lights, that's us. So we would be putting them up and taking them down on an annual basis. But the regular street lights is what we're referring to in this contract.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Entertain a motion to authorize township manager to sign a contract with Charles Higgins and Sons for the going rate that's listed.
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Tindaro, second by Commissioner Young. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. EMS cost sharing agreement. Who wants to take on that? All right.
Yeah.
We went on through this in depth at the last workshop.
Yeah, we had a lot of Mr. Young had a lot of input. We had a lot of conversation. Real quick recap. You know, as everybody knows, we're reporting out the 5 of the municipalities that EMS, ALS, POS have been meeting, discussing operation, how we fund that, how we operate together as municipalities. So this cost sharing agreement is just for 1-year cost sharing while we're still trying to develop a long-term resolution for path. And this really just quantifies what municipality That's the first one.
It's just an agreement between all municipalities, so everybody knows.
The whole place.
Yeah.
All right. Commissioners, comments, questions? Residents? Here in the township building, everybody is on board with Zoom? None at this time? All right. Entertain a motion to authorize township manager to sign and enter into the EMS service cost sharing agreement.
Actually, before we do that, is it the manager or is it the president of the board?
I think the board president.
I know that it's listed here, Don, but
I believe the actual agreement.
Yeah, it should be the board president.
Yeah. So
Oh, okay, yeah.
I know it says Don there, but I think
it
it's the
does.
board president that
Okay.
needs to sign that.
As modified.
Okay.
Board president.
So
two
moved.
cents. Moved.
Second.
And moved by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Third page, geez. Consultant, letter agreement with Rob. I know you.
Cost sharing with those same 5 municipalities, including We all feel that we should engage a consultant to help us identify what the 5 municipalities are down the right path, if we're funding properly, stuff is proper, and how we operate. At the same time, evaluate the service that Inquis provides, for into both sides. We, at the request of the 5 municipalities, subcommittee went and met with Old Mesa, because they operate as an authority. That was one of the options, how this operates that we were doing. I mentioned that because, Rob Consulting did, so, or make.
Excuse me, Ryan. Would you be able to switch mics? I think the battery may have
died.
Yep. Sorry about that. Rob Consulting, the primary, one of the 2 primary reasons that we recommended Rob Consulting was because Rob Consulting assisted Mesa with forming that EMS authority. So it just kind of made sense, somebody that had done that before, to do that. The second reason that we recommended Rob Consulting was because Rob Consulting has not only done work in, Lancaster, Adams County, but has done work in Chester County, specifically Southern Chester County in the past. It's worth noting that Rob, the person that owns and operates Rob Consulting, used to work for DCED, and that's what he did for DCED before he went out on his own. Purely regionalization, consulting for fire, EMS, and police departments. The last thing it might just be worth noting, out of the 5 municipalities, the other 4 municipalities have signed both agreements.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Get
Right.
this thing signed.
Did they ever say what the consulting fees would be to assess the feasibility of using this contract?
Yes, I believe that's in your package.
Because I saw something for $44,000, but it looked like it was like a month. Is that a monthly? fee?
No.
No.
Or just a one-time
Yeah,
fee,
that's the
just to,
And then we split it,
right, we split it 5 ways to do the assessment.
not evenly, but by the
By the
percentage.
number of calls, by the percentage of calls.
Yep, the same way that we fund Minquist, the 5 municipalities would agree to pay the share of the 44,000.
Based on the volumes. Yeah.
That's
okay.
correct.
Thank you.
No other questions? Commissioners, residents? None at this time. All right. Entertain a motion to approve the proposal from
So moved.
Rob Consulting.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Evans. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Stendero had stepped out. Holiday lights on Lincoln Highway.
Maine.
Hmm?
No, I said holiday lights.
All right. Well, believe it or not, you need to start talking about the holiday lights.
Let's talk
Yes,
about
it's
it.
on the way.
We are in the discount period right now for a couple more days. And I know there's discussion about garlands and for the light poles. And Abby was kind enough to work with the vendor and got some great prices for this. So if we are interested in upgrading the lights, now would be the time. I forget exactly. It's about 40% for some of the items.
It's great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the snowflakes are 40% off and the garlands are 30% off. And the second one from the right or from the left is the one that we ordered. So the quote that we got was to order 2 more of those for now, and then to order garlands for all the poles as well. So it would end up looking a little bit like the one on the left.
Much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were certainly lacking something.
And
Are they getting 2 more snowflakes?
because we have not yet found other places to put them. So if you look at all of the light posts, the other decorative light posts in the township doesn't own any of them. And while our plan is to approach the businesses, they're going to have to put power outlets on all of them. None of them have outlets yet. So for now, instead of buying a whole bunch that we're going to have to store and aren't certain that we will have anywhere to put them up, we thought get two. We've got one empty post that we can put one on, and then thought it was a good idea to have an extra just in case, which we can then put up later once we find a spot for it. Yes, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just thinking, like I'm always thinking, well, with the way that the economy is starting to turn and go down the drain, how expensive, when will we ever see a price like this again? And is it worth rolling the dice and investing in more of them now at a really low price than paying quadruple in 2 years?
I mean, for what it's worth, these prices have been steady for the past 6 or 8 years since I first started looking at them. They've been they're not that expensive to me. Oh. And they're all yeah, that's all.
The thing is, if we store them, like who knows whether they'll actually work.
Yes, right.
By
that's
the
true.
time we
Yeah,
find
yep,
somewhere
yep.
to put them.
Good point.
And they'll be out of the warranty by then.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
we've ever even used them.
Last time at Tony DeSario's house.
It's only candy.
Only candy canes, right?
I saw Tom Parr's hand go up.
Did you?
Comment, yeah.
No, only that, yeah, each year there's a discount period at the beginning. So if we're able to have businesses want to participate, and we can arrange some situation in which the additional infrastructure is included on the poles, we can certainly next year order some of these. Also moving forward, as was discussed with the Cohen property, that was a condition in there, is that decorative lights that are going to be installed in the future will match the decorative lighting units along Lincoln Highway in Thorndale Village, and also include the outlet to accommodate holiday lights. So trying to think towards the future as well.
Well, we'll have the same window of opportunity next year as well.
Should.
We should.
Nothing's guaranteed,
Yeah,
but
true.
should.
Is there any place around the township where you could put decorative lighting, like around our facility here? Or like in the old schoolhouse and other places in the township that we could, not, maybe not a snowflake, but I mean, if we're looking at lighting and festivities, we have a lot of other nice features that we could, show off as well.
That might be what Tom's comment is about.
Oh,
Let's hear from Tom.
Yeah, right. Abby, the garland. How long is that garland?
That is a 20-foot garland.
Okay.
We went out and measured with rope.
And is it the picture, is that the one all the way on the left with the lights in the garland?
Correct.
Cool. Okay.
They also come with giant red bows.
Yeah,
And I tried to get them to take the bows off, but it's cheaper with the bows. So if we don't, I don't know, I think it's maybe too much for one pole, but surely we have other places we can use giant red bows.
Yeah, sure. We can use them up at the farm. Okay. Yeah. Hey, you got my you got my vote. Put them on all the poles. That's fine by
all
me.
over the place. I'm with you.
How far
Okay.
down on
Thanks, Tom.
Lincoln
Thank
Highway
you.
are you going to be putting the decorative lighting? Because there's not anything down on the west end of Lincoln Highway.
Well, it seems like whenever a new development goes in, they have been required to put in the decorative lighting, right? So Willows has some. What else on the west end of town?
Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, so it's working its way
It's
down
coming.
there. We just need to get.
It's coming.
We need to get outlets, and then we need to get their permission to
Okay.
hang up some snowflakes.
Thank you.
In any of our grants, will we be able to maybe make a presentation where we can work with some of the businesses to do some type of matching grant thing to get them involved and, hey, let's do this. It's always like we're just putting it all on them if they can't afford to do it. But maybe a matching little program to give some incentive to like, hey, let's go.
It's worth looking into for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
All right. Hey,
Can I just ask one question? I don't mean to prolong anything.
yeah.
I hate to be the guy where the glass is always half empty, but have we thought about maybe those decorations, making sure they stay high enough? Because they're gonna be vandalized.
He said 20 feet, but
Like if it goes to the ground, it's gonna be vandalized.
I mean, for what it's worth, the snowflakes that were just up for 4 months, I don't think we had any issues, and
No, but
I can reach them from the sidewalk. They're really low.
Right, it's high.
Yeah, they're lower than you think. The guys,
They look high.
yeah, no,
But they might think cameras in there too, these kids.
who knows? I mean, it's a good point.
Apparently, all our coffee is wearing off.
What's
So
coffee? I forgot to get it.
yeah, 9:30 was my limits.
It's 10:30.
You guys.
Good points.
So moved.
All right. So, yeah, with no further questions, entertain a motion to approve the holiday lighting.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Tindaro. And this was for 20 wraparound garlands and 2 snowflakes. One for a pole that we do not have one for, and a second as a backup. All right, thank you so much. CCIU.
We didn't vote. Did we?
Yeah.
Good.
We did? Okay.
It's getting late.
See?
Yeah.
See, his
Yeah.
coffee wore out. CCIU, just a quick update.
That's correct. Yes.
Just keep it on the books here. Go ahead.
Last on the list, the only items I would like to quickly report. I do not have the most recent updated response numbers, but as of about a week or two ago, 237 responses by our local police department for the year. The other update is there was some recent hiring done by the IU. They hired a director of safety and security, Bill Pepitone, took the role on January 27th. Also, there was a new assistant executive director, hired Dr. Jennifer Murray. We hope to be able to reach out to them and continue the conversation with new staff members there. Hopefully, be able to get some results, through our continued efforts to improve the situation.
Right. Thank you. Board minutes to approve. We have February 13th. Board minutes. I did make, even though I was not in attendance, I made a couple changes, typos kind of thing. Was that updated?
I believe an updated copy of the board minutes should have been included, that those small typographical changes were incorporated. Yes.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments? If not, entertain a motion to.
So moved. Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And 1 abstain, so it passes 4-1. Acknowledgement of Planning Commission minutes for January 21st. Entertain a motion to acknowledge.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by, was it Ms. Kennedy?
Lorraine.
Lorraine, Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Just, yeah, it's getting late.
It's late.
Lisa, we
Alright.
will not have the financial report this late ever again. Promise.
It's only 10.
Yeah. Oh,
5 o'clock
man.
somewhere.
Finance Department.
So sorry. So sorry.
Are you still awake?
I am.
All right.
Very exciting meetings.
Yeah.
Going.
So much. All right. What do you got? Anything exciting that we need to know about?
The board has my packet with all the numbers. We're looking good. Just a side note that, even though we follow a fiscal year, the township bills don't go out, and well, actually they went out this week. So the bulk of our revenue won't be coming in until the end of mid-March to April. So that's kind of when we really get cooking here. So don't be flustered by those cash balances. As the last couple of years since I've been here, they get pretty bulky right where we want them at the right time. So I have no doubt that by the end of April we'll be 70-80% collected our tax bills, et cetera. Reminder that the discount period falls in March and April as well, just as a reminder. That is all that I have. I do want to thank all of the directors again. I know some of the memos I made note. They've been very diligent with their pricing and coming to me and having discussions as far as discounts or what can we do, going out there and sometimes hitting up 3 vendors is okay, but they're going after 4 and 5, as Director Huggins said, have them go head to head with one another. It works out for the township. So kudos to them. I know John had to leave, but he's been a great asset so far that we've seen. He's very efficient. He's on time with his paperwork, very thorough, and is a good cohesive fit, I think, there. Nicole did a great job picking that one. So excited to work during the full season. That is my report, other than checks.
Stupid question. Why, when you got a mortgage, they do escrow for the property taxes. Why don't the mortgage companies take into account that there's a discount period?
Oh, they do. They do. We will, we usually, from 2 of the bigger ones, we'll get a check second or third week in March.
All right.
And I actually have to call the bank to increase our allowable limits.
Okay.
Because we'll get, a $2 million check from them. And then I have to watch.
Go to spring
then we
training,
have
right?
people at the window. And, yeah. Right. So yeah, there's a whole dynamic following that, but yeah, they do for the most part. Now there might be some stragglers, some of the smaller companies, but those bigger companies do take advantage of those discounts, as well as a good portion of our residents that pay themselves. So that's good for them too.
Percent is 2%, right?
Sure is.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioners, any questions for Lisa? Awesome, easy enough. The check run, I just wanted to point out, I love to see this one check for playground equipment. Spoke to Don earlier today, so we have new playground equipment in Municipal Park and Lloyd Park. Was it Lloyd? Not to drag this along, but this is exciting news.
We are replacing the large swing set in both Lloyd and Municipal Park. They are probably the same age as the trailer. And if you remember at Community Day, the public got to vote on some different playground equipment options. We had a big printout, and so we're buying a couple of those to add to Municipal. Should be fun. The guys want to get them in before summer. So fingers crossed.
Yep.
Excellent.
I want to sign that. All right. All right. Any questions on the check run? If not, entertain a motion to approve 53,587 to 53,646 and a manual check of 312.
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Yeah, we're tired. Moved by Commissioner Tendero, second by Commissioner Young. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Checks have been approved. Additional business? None at this time. Public
Actually, I have
comment?
about 3 things I'd like to.
Public comment? Public? Well, the MS4 program.
MS4.
Any public comment in Zoom? All right, easy enough. Entertain a motion
So
to
moved.
adjourn. So moved. Second. Moving second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much, everyone. There was no way I could beat 8:50.